What's up, everyone? Welcome to your AstroWeather Forecast for the week of February 2nd to the 8th, 2026. I'm the Astro Mama. I bring the cosmos down to earth to ground deep feelers, creatives, and mystics. So go ahead, settle into whichever way you like to consume content, and let's just get right into it. This week's astrology is a little interesting, but I will say compared to last week's astrology, which we all saw play out, it is definitely less intense. One of the biggest shifts that I see when I start looking at the forecast for this week is a shift out of the Aquarius stellium that we've been having for a little while of this very cerebral but humanitarian energy that was available to us into a more Piscean, watery energy as many planets in the cosmos start to shift from Aquarius to Pisces. Aquarian energy is known for being innovative and expansive, intellectual, very smart, very sharp. It's an air sign and also very humanitarian in nature. Whereas Piscean energy is very watery, still a humanitarian. They're very empathetic, very compassionate, but in a softer way. Aquarius energy is more focused on the collective, whereas Piscean energy really thrives in a one-to-one environment, one-to-one with a pet, one-to-one with the earth, one-to-one with a person in front of them. Pisces energy can thrive in a group environment, but the way that they serve and hold space is going to be a little different. Aquarian energy holds space with finding solutions to complicated problems through innovation, through thinking outside of the box, and through redirecting our focus to some kind of collective mission. The Aquarius energy has this beautiful gift of being able to kind of rise above something and look at the situation from a different angle. It's very Queen of Swords energy. Piscean energy learns through really almost like a meshing and blurring boundaries and channeling in a more spiritual way. Pisces rules the 12th house, and 12th house themes invite us to not think, but to feel instead, to be guided by something bigger than yourself, to be empathetic and compassionate. But what happens with Piscean energy really struggles to have boundaries. So you might find within this week, this push-pull energy of starting to almost feel like you're blending into the people in your environment. And there is that quote that says that you become the sum of like 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. I think that's totally true, especially if you're like me and you have a lot of Pisces energy in your natal chart, because I'm a Pisces rising and I have some other planets in Pisces too. And we have to be cautious of blending into people. Say your friend's having a hard day and you want to go to their house and hang out with them and support them. If you can have really good energetic boundaries, you do energy clearing before maybe, and you show up and you're like, I just want to be with my friend, almost in my own energetic bubble, while she's in hers, but I know she's going through a hard time. And so maybe my presence will support her. Maybe I can give her some advice or some support during this hard time in her life. That is going to be a much more productive experience for both of you versus totally letting all your walls down and just becoming overburdened with that person's problems. And it's not their fault, because it's our job to set the boundaries, but then we get totally bogged down with their problems, and then it's hard to figure out how you actually really feel. So energetic protection is going to be really important during Pisces season, and as many of these cosmos shift into Pisces. Now, this is also something that the collective has been learning for a little while, because the North Node is currently in Pisces. There is this lesson around humanitarianism and healing and spirituality and seeing beyond the veil and really allowing yourself to channel, to be intuitive, but also having those boundaries so that you can hold space, so you can serve. The opposite polarity to Pisces is Virgo energy. And Virgo energy is the practical healer. Virgo energy is very much the doctor, the physical therapist, the personal trainer, the astrologer sometimes, the accountant, somebody who helps people through mastering systems typically, and through a mixture of the intellect and the physical vessel. And something that Virgo energy has is this really beautiful ability to be a boundaried human. But their shadow side is being too boundaried. So when we're moving out of the collective shadow of being too boundaried, too much everything is about meism, into everything is about we, there's a finding of a middle ground. There's a finding of a middle path that I think a lot of us are going to be really initiated into around being compassionate, being kind, caring about other people, and not having so many boundaries, but not completely enmeshing yourself into the muck of somebody else and what they're going through, because we can't really serve from that place. I'm biased because I love Pisces energy. I've plenty of friends who are Pisces. My husband's a Pisces, my daughter's a Pisces, I am a Pisces rising. I'm a big fan of Pisces energy. So to me, this feels like a lighter energy. If you're a more watery person, maybe much of your cosmic chart, much of your natal chart is in Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces, this season that we're heading into should feel really relaxing. You should actually probably feel a little bit more at home. But for specifically our fire and our earth signs, this could be a challenging season. So I just want to empower you to know that it's okay to have emotions. It's safe to be emotional. It's safe to be creative. And it's safe to be able to see things that you can't see and to know things that you didn't learn in school or that you didn't learn through studies. The reason why water sign seasons can be challenging for people with dominant earth and dominant fire in their charts is because fire is here to initiate us and to charge ahead. Think about the difference between fire and water. Water puts out the fire and is like, don't charge ahead. Don't initiate. This is time to feel things. This is the time to process your emotions. This is the time to get into your imagination. And the fire signs are like, okay, that's funny. We have to get going. So we have to get all the other astrological signs amped, motivated, ready to go. And then the earth signs are like, oh, it's so nice that they're so in touch with their emotions. It's a part of me that I don't necessarily have strengthened, but I need to lay the foundations and the groundwork for what the fire signs just started so that whatever we're building is sustainable. So I don't have time to be in the emotional watery energy. Okay. Air and water are a little bit more similar because air is just wanting to be like a little fairy. The air signs, although they can get into their heads a little bit and they don't always love to be in their emotions, it's a little easier for them to shift into the watery energy. Let's talk about this week how you can swim with the cosmic current instead of against it. Welcome to Monday, February 2nd. The moon enters Virgo tonight around 7:21 p.m. Pacific time, making this a great day and the next couple days thereafter to call your doctor, go to the dentist, go to the DMV, file your taxes, do the routine things to keep your systems going. So hopefully you do maintenance on your car. Hopefully you clean your house. Hopefully you eat well and shower. Look and see what areas of your life need a little bit of maintenance because we can't expect something to thrive if we're not constantly maintaining it. The plants I have in this room can't thrive if I'm not consistently making sure that they're watered, consistently making sure that their soil is healthy, consistently making sure that they have sunlight and being sweet to them so they don't feel alone. It's easy to focus on one area of life and then the other balls kind of drop. So we just want to take some space. Don't get overcritical of yourself. Shadow side of Virgo is a little overcritical of self and others. See if you can channel that analytical nature, that ability to look at something and see what maintenance work needs to be done and strategize it to your advantage by getting things done. Mercury is also going to be making a sextile to Chiron today at 4:32 p.m. Pacific time. If you are literally going to the doctors today, this is going to be a great day to do that, to talk or communicate about your wounding, about your issues. Same thing with therapy. And notice when you are filing your taxes, or when you are doing a relationship check-in or whatever it is that you've decided that you need to maintain and you're doing the maintenance projects on that, this is a good time to bring healing to past wounds through mercurial themes of communication, siblings, neighbors, short-term travel. I would argue this is especially important because Mercury is going to be going into retrograde at the end of the month. Get anything done now. Any hard conversations now would be a beneficial time to do it. And any type of computer work you need to do, this would be a good time to do it. Any time of contracts you need to sign, this is a good time to do it before Mercury goes retrograde at the end of the month. It's easier during Mercury retrograde seasons to have miscommunications, typos, and misspellings, and hidden clauses and agreements that you didn't realize were there. You want to kind of get ahead, front load your month with mercurial tasks so that when Mercury goes retrograde, which I believe is on the 26th of February, you are ready and prepared. And you can utilize retrograde season for what retrograde season is designed for, which is more revising things that already exist. I will say also, just because Mercury rules the third house, which also rules siblings, if you have a sibling, let me know in the comments below. I'm so curious. I have two. And especially when you're close in age with your siblings, I have a twin. Also, let me know if you're a twin. When you're growing up, you go through a lot of the same experiences. And the truth is, especially for those of us who grew up in abusive environments, chaotic environments, traumatic environments, the only person on this earth that really actually understands what you went through is going to be that sibling. Because a lot of those situations, a lot of childhood trauma, not all of it, but a lot of it does occur behind closed doors. It can be really hard when you are at odds with your siblings. I remember having a conversation with my aunt, and I was just kind of unpacking some of the childhood trauma that I went through. And she said, you know, the most important thing is that you all have each other's back. The most important thing is that you have your sister and your brother's back, and that they have your back, and that the three of you stick together. Because life is weird, life is short, life can be unpredictable, and it can be scary, but they know what you've been through, and you three need to stay together so that you can heal and grow. That was really sweet, and that really kind of changed my perception. It's also easy to take advantage of your siblings because they were always there usually, or they were there quite often growing up. It's a good day to kind of nurture those connections with your siblings and bring healing to any kinds of wounds that you might have between you and them as well. The same thing goes for people from your hometown. I'm not saying that you need to be friends with everybody from your hometown, but it is, again, another level of familiarity that not everybody understands. I was chatting with a girlfriend the other day. I'm from upstate New York, and so is she. We were talking about losing hot water in the winter and how there would always be like this rush between us and our siblings and our parents to see who would get into the shower first and who would get the hot water. And whoever was the last person would run out of hot water. And that was such a common problem where we grew up because it was cold. Our friends from California, they didn't understand that. They were like, okay, why? And also, why would that be a problem if you run out of hot water? Because like you could just use cold water and you're not going to be cold, right? But if it's 30 degrees outside, if it's 20 degrees outside and you don't have hot water, you're going to be freezing your ass off. So it's cool when you meet people who are from similar areas to you because you all have the same. There's people from New York, we have a certain vibe. People from the Midwest have a certain vibe. People from California have a certain vibe. People from the South have a certain vibe. And it is kind of nice to be around people who you share that place of origin with. Welcome to Tuesday, February 3rd. Uranus stations direct today. This is probably one of the biggest transits that we have going on this week. It stations direct at 27 degrees of Taurus, completing a cycle that's been going on since May 15th of 2018. Taurus rules the second house, which is usually finances, values, what we spend our money on, and how we earn income. And then Uranus is the planet of innovation, electricity, abrupt changes. I know when I had Uranus transiting my second house, my finances were kind of like this. It was like, I would get this like windfall of money and I was like, where did this even come from? And then I'd have a couple months where I was like, I wasn't really earning anything, but I was working my butt off, you know? So there is this kind of interesting cycle that you can have with a Uranus in the second house transit. And those of you who are Aries risings or Pisces risings, it's more likely that you had Uranus going through your second house than other zodiac signs. But in general, in order to learn how Uranus in Taurus since May of 2018 impacted your unique natal chart, it's important to do a transit reading. You can book one with me. The link is below. That way we can see what specific area of your life were you having these abrupt changes, these electrical currents pulsing through you? And where is Uranus going now? Because Uranus is moving into Gemini on April 20th of this year of 2026. So when Uranus moves into Gemini, depending on where Taurus is in your chart, and depending where Gemini is in your chart, there will be a shift. There will be a shift of what area of your life is kind of getting sparked up or electrocuted by Uranus. And it's cool to just kind of know ahead of time. I believe the planets are neutral. Not every astrologer thinks that. Some astrologers definitely feel like certain planets are benefics and malefics. I don't want to discredit that practice, but I like to take on the opinion and the belief that the planets are neutral and that they don't have a personal vendetta against you. And they're just trying to support you on your soul's evolution based on your unique chart. And so something we can do together is explore how you are going to be more specifically impacted by this transit. With Uranus leaving Taurus, we can start to think about between May of 2018 and April of 2026, what were some major shifts or changes or electric shocks that we had as a collective all around the world when it came to finances. I find it fascinating that the crypto boom was in 2017, and we start to feel the beginning of transits before they happen. We were already headed into the energy of Uranus and Taurus. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, from my understanding, was created because there was people wanted to change the way that we looked at currency. They wanted to decentralize currency, taking the power away from big banks and putting it more into the hands of the people in a more democratic way. You could see also with crypto and with Bitcoin, this fluctuation that's been going on over the last several years. At times, it was valued so much money. At certain times, it was valued so little money. This also symbolizes our values as a collective changing and shifting. In 2020, which was during Uranus's transit through Taurus, we had the coronavirus. And when people were forced to stay at home, some people really changed what it was that they valued. Some people definitely needed things like stimulus checks to get by, so they were focused more on their needs. But for some of us who, especially people who were still making full-time income when they were working, or they were in some kind of energetic surplus, they had a little bit of extra cash lying around. And we saw people start to invest in things differently than they had in the past. The wellness industry really boomed, spiritual industries really boomed. Many people, more people than not, went through spiritual awakenings at that time. And I think at least half of those people were guided by someone, whether it was a coach, or a healer, or it was a blog, or even like vitamins, or ashwagandha, or cacao, or supplements, yoga. These things kind of made a resurgence, and people were spending their money on healing in a way that they hadn't before. Because sometimes when we are forced to slow down, when we're forced to reevaluate, it changes what it is that we value. And because some people did have this surplus, this new surplus, because when else in your life are you just randomly given like $2,000? I know that's never happened to me in my life. Maybe that has happened to you. You're like, oh, I have a little bit of extra cash. What do I want to spend it on? We can learn a lot about how the collective is moving and changing, evolving through the ways that we spend money. I think in a capitalist world that we tend to put our money into what it is that we value. That's why somebody could be making $30,000 a year and somebody could be making $60,000 a year. And the person who's making $30K a year saves up all their money so they can afford a $500 a month gym. So even though they're making half the amount per month of the person who's making $60K, they really value their health and their fitness. And so they're willing to cut corners in other areas of life. Maybe they have a smaller apartment. Maybe they don't go out on weekends. Maybe they have a no spend policy where they only spend money on groceries. I don't know, whatever that is for them. Versus the person with the 60K income who doesn't value health and wellness, they might think that that's absolutely crazy. Most of their money would go to maybe a larger apartment, maybe more extracurricular activities that don't involve health and wellness. Maybe they like to do at-home workouts and then spend their money shopping. We just tend to show the universe, show God, show spirit, what we value through how we spend our dollar. And I think throughout the Uranus's transit, in Taurus, this was something that came to light for certain. I'll make a video about Uranus and Gemini closer to the date that Uranus does move into Gemini. I think it's going to be a very needed transit for our world, especially with the other planetary configurations that will be going on throughout that transit. We're going to skip ahead to our next major transit, which is on February 5th. This is a Thursday. And the moon enters Libra this morning around 1:33 a.m. Pacific time. This brings more of a focus to Venusian themes like beauty, love, relationships, finances. This is a really sweet day to bring healing to connections, to find middle grounds, to be a mediator, and release the desire to be wishy-washy or passive so that the gifts of a Libra moon of compassion, of being able to see both sides and being harmonious can be released instead. Libra energy creates harmony in the world through two different ways. The first path is more like the beauty path. So this is being a model, an artist, a photographer, a healer, an interior designer, somebody who is making the world more aesthetically pleasing. They're creating beauty, they're creating art in the world. Then the second path is that of the Judgment card in tarot, through dismantling and decentralizing systems that are oppressive to others. Feel into which of these paths for the next 2.5 days or so do I have the capacity to hold? Because we don't want to take on anything that we don't have the capacity to hold and see till the end. And understand that, that being said, Libra energy can be wishy-washy. You don't have to make a choice today that will be that choice for eternity. This will be very important come later in the week as well too, because there is this kind of energy in the cosmos around feeling like things are very finite and exact, but they're actually not. This could be a good day to just bring harmony to your environments and to figure out for now which path is the best way that you can show up, that you can serve, that you can support others. Everybody needs each other. Astrologers have astrologers. I have astrologers that I work with. Therapists need therapists. Doctors need doctors. Fill in the blank. And when you have taken on the role of being a space holder, I know many of you are, because as creatives, mystics, and deep feelers, we tend to be in positions of being healers or guides or some kind of space holders. You need to receive that as well. It doesn't always have to be from a professional. Sometimes it's just from your friends or your family or your dog even. I have a friend and a guide I used to work with, and she's a plant medicine guide. And I remember watching her in a ceremony, and she was on fire. I mean, it was one of the most beautiful nights of my life. She had been pretty much nonstop leading us through the ceremony for like 8 hours. Okay. And she was pretty strong all the way up until the end. And then the ceremony was over and she ran up to her partner who was there and just collapsed into his arms. This powerful woman is out there in the world and she's serving people and she's healing people and she's like so on fire and she's leading. And she lets herself lead to her capacity. But then when she needed to rest and retreat, she was able to fall into the arms of her beloved. I love that. I love that image. I always carry that with me of like, wow, a couple goals. Every strong person, every leader, every healer, every guide, every deep feeler, and I don't mean strong as in aggressive, you could be soft and be strong too, needs somebody that they can just fall into. If you are the friend or the partner who has been receiving a lot lately, this could be a good opportunity to give in that way and finding this energetic balance. Before Mercury moves into Pisces tomorrow, it does make a square to Uranus in Taurus at 4:13 a.m. Pacific time. Today, there could be nervous ADHD energy in the air. You could be feeling a little restless. You could be feeling like your mind is kind of in a million places, or it's just nowhere. It's super foggy. Notice any ahas, epiphanies, downloads that you get and write them down. You don't have to act on them immediately. You can write them down and file them for later when you have the space, the time, the energy to do it. You know, sometimes we get an idea. You think, gosh, well, I can't do this right now, so I'm just never going to do it. But the truth is, at the right time, you will have what you need to do it. You will get that cosmic green light from the universe, from God, from spirit for it to be the right time. I've been trying to have a podcast, guys, since like 2017. I'm a Gemini. Somebody give me a mic. I've been trying to get somebody to give me a mic since 2017. And it really didn't even come close to being consistent with any souls watching it at all until 2025. And it's not super big yet. My intentions are to serve as many people as I can with astrology for free with this podcast. My previous podcast was called Wild Wisdom, but it comes back around. Everything comes back around. And I remember at that time being so frustrated because I was a broke person at the end of my college career, also starting my business and holding space for people. And I was living in my dad's house in this room that I was renting from him. And we got there in such an interesting way. And I was there on the floor of this place that had literally no furniture in it. All I had was a bed and this like little table that I got from a Marshall's at this time. And I was just like sitting on the floor sweating. The apartment was super hot. And I had gotten a microphone. I put like all my free resources into this microphone and into Adobe Audition. And I was recording this podcast. I remember I would always get so frustrated. I wish I had a nice camera. I wish I had a nicer microphone. I wish I had better softwares to do this. Editing takes so long. I wish I had more free time. I just wish I had more resources in general. And so I had to put the podcast to bed because I didn't necessarily have the resources at that time to grow it in the way I want to. Whereas now, almost 10 years later, 7 years later, I do. I was able to get a phone that has a good camera. I was able to invest in a microphone that has good quality. Nowadays, podcast editing is so much easier because you can edit alongside an AI companion. Now the time is right. And I have a little bit more free time now, right? And thankfully, my husband has been super supportive of this. So thank you, Zachary. But I have the support now to be able to grow it and to do it. Sometimes the ideas come back around, but don't lose sight of them. Just keep them somewhere. Keep it somewhere on, a digital platform or written down on a sticky note on your wall to come back to later. On the other side, if you know it's the time to act on something, don't hold back. Take a step. Pisces is water. Pisces is a slower moving energy, but it is moving. Like the stream is moving. The ocean waves do roll in and then roll out. Ideas will travel from person to person until somebody takes that idea and implements it. And that's why you have so many things you'll be like, oh my God, I had that exact idea to do that thing. And then this person did that thing. That person did that thing because they were also plugged into whatever it is that you plugged into, and then they just had the courage or the opportunities or the resources, let's be honest, to execute at that time. If there is an idea that you've been sitting on for a while and you know deep down in your core that this is the moment, this is the time to do it, just take one step. File a trademark application. Write out what it is that you want to do. Get really clear on what that vision is. Let yourself be in the visionary role. With all these planets moving to Pisces, it's going to be important to keep things flowing, but to be moving from your heart. Moving from your intuition, moving from your body. Let your higher self guide you. Think about a risk that you took in your life and think about what it was that you plugged into to have the courage to do that. Think about how much better your life is now that you did that. And you didn't have the evidence to know how it was going to work out. You didn't have the research that was going to tell you that it was going to be effective. Maybe at first the decision sucked and your whole life fell apart, but then it came together. Look back in history and look at the risks that you took, listening to your gut intuition and how they panned out, and then bring that energy into your field today. Welcome to Friday, February 6th. Mercury, the planet of communication, short-term travel, siblings, and your neighborhood is moving out of the intellectual, cerebral, but humanitarian energy of Aquarius, the innovative one, into the deep feeler, creative, and mystic sign of Pisces. Great way to start to learn astrological transits and also just natal chart placements is to look at celebrities or famous people that have this in their natal chart. Some famous celebrities that have Mercury and Pisces would be Lady Gaga, Heath Ledger, Lily Collins, and William H. Macy. Heath Ledger we saw as the Joker. What a creative role that he played. It was very creative, it was very out there, it was very emotional and kind of like accidentally profound. I feel like Pisces energy is accidentally profound. They don't seek out to be the spiritual healer, they just are. It's just a natural kind of aura. They just say things that you're like, it's like a Jedi vibe. Where did that even come from? And all the other signs are trying to find quotes and trying to read the books and do the things. And then Pisces just comes out and is like, and so it is. Lady Gaga, I think, is very obviously a Pisces Mercury. Think about how unique her art has always been. And it's almost like the less flashy that she's been, the better off her career has been. I'm thinking about that film she recently did, A Star is Born, and how she shifted out of this energy that we usually saw her in, which is an artist and very quirky, very Enneagram 4, very out there, different, into a more stripped down version of her, where you could just hear her, you can hear her voice and you can hear her emotions. And I actually haven't seen this movie. Also, interestingly enough, that Lady Gaga was in the most recent version of the Joker, and Heath Ledger also had Mercury in Pisces and was the Joker. Lily Collins has this placement, trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about eating disorders, but there's this film called To the Bone. Depending on where you are in your mental health journey, it can either be really supportive or it might be triggering. For me, it was really supportive, and it gave me a lot of this feeling of like not being alone with some of the struggles that I went through when I had an eating disorder. That role is really intense. She had to lose, like, she was already a thin woman, and I think she lost like 10, 20, 30 pounds to accurately portray somebody who had extreme anorexia. That film is very creative and very quirky, but it's also very emotional and very intense. She has this way of acting in this film that it just elicits compassion from you. It brings up some feelings. Mercury in Pisces tears at the heartstrings. It pulls at the heartstrings. It's a tearjerker type of energy. And also William H. Macy, who famously plays Frank in Shameless, love Shameless. He has this placement as well too. So it's interesting because his character is a drug addict, is abusive, is a substance abuse, is kind of like all over the place, but then has these moments of like being really sweet and kind and supportive. So Pisces energy in its detriment, being ruled by Neptune as its modern ruler, is drunkenness. It's overdoing substances because they either A, they're just absorbing so much and they need a release and they don't know how to release their emotions in a healthy way. Or B, just the boundaries are so easily to get blurred. So it's so easy to accidentally get drunk if you have a lot of Pisces placements. It's fascinating to look at these characters that have been played in the media by actors who literally have Mercury in Pisces as archetypes of what Mercury in Pisces could look like for you. One of the biggest things is that Mercury in Pisces is going to ask us to connect to empathy, to compassion, and to what it is that you feel versus what it is that you know to be true. This is a very heart over head logic. Depending on how your natural brain chemistry or aura is, this could be a really challenging season for you. You might feel very foggy, you could feel a little bit all over the place, you could feel a little bit lost. And my advice for you is that you can't outthink your way with this energy. You can't outsmart or outthink or outwit Mercury in Pisces. You have to feel it to heal it. You have to really allow yourself to be in your feelings to move through this transit with grace. To get the most out of this transit, you have to learn to get out of your head and into your body and into your heart. Instead of hiding your emotions or numbing out, this is a great transit to really feel them fully, to let yourself cry. When you cry and your tears move down your cheeks, it brings healing to your literal selves. This is the time to really allow yourself to be in that energy. This is an energy around surrender. So surrendering to the projects, the relationships, the experiences that you've created in your life that are starting to swim away from you. Surrender, let them go, let them swim away, and let yourself be open to what is swimming into your life, the people, places, and experiences that are coming in at this time. On Saturday, February 7th, the moon enters Scorpio today around 11:13 a.m. Pacific time. Now, I will say this could be a little bit of a possessive energy, a little bit of an obsessive energy. So we want to be mindful of rumination today. Scorpio's traditional ruler is Mars, and a great remedy, I feel, for the overthinking component of Scorpio moons is to get a good workout in, to channel your passion or your over focus on something into something productive that exerts your will. Try taking whatever it is that you're obsessing about off of the pedestal and bring yourself to the pedestal instead. Let's say you're ruminating about your partner or somebody you're dating. Every time you're thinking about what are they doing, what are they saying, who are they with, do they like me, do they not like me, bring it back to you and say, okay, what am I doing? Who am I with? Do I like myself? What do I need right now? That can be really supportive with this energy. Scorpio's modern ruler is Pluto. And Pluto is death, rebirth, transformation, shared finances, and anything that we consider taboo. This is also a great day to get into your subconscious mind by yourself or with a guide through hypnosis, psychotherapy, meditation, plant medicine, whatever it is that brings you into your subconscious mind, where most of the work of becoming ourselves is really taking place. I saw a video from a content creator recently, and she said that she's not worried about her husband cheating on her. It's not that he couldn't cheat on her. It's not from that place of like, well, I'm so good, he's never gonna cheat on me. It's that if he cheats on me, so what? And there's nothing that I can do to stop him from cheating. She's sharing this idea of there's no amount of me looking through his phone, telling him not to go to tennis practice because there's going to be girls there, following him to work, grilling him about his work wife, that is going to stop him from cheating. Cheaters will cheat no matter what. The best thing that I can do is take care of myself, nurture myself, and trust that if that was to happen, I've got my back. I will survive this. But if I put all my precious energy into trying to prevent him or control him from doing something that he's going to do anyway, I just wasted X amount of time where I could have been either enjoying this relationship or just enjoying myself, putting my energy into other more productive means. If you are anxious today, if you are ruminating, please protect your nervous system, please ground, please nourish yourself, but try to take this higher perspective of there's no situation in life that if you can just control it more, it's going to be more successful. And I think Pisces season is going to be really important for us, especially with the North Node being in Pisces right now, to surrender a little bit more, to surrender control, to be in the flow, and to allow yourself to not have to be in charge of everything. Because that's a lot, that's a big burden to carry on your shoulders, and you don't deserve that. Lastly, welcome to Sunday, February 8th. Venus will be moving into Pisces next week, but before it does, it will be making a square to Uranus today at 1:48 a.m. Pacific time. I want to empower you to not make any long-term decisions today, especially when it comes to Venusian themes like relationships, beauty, and finances. Let the dust settle. Yesterday with that moon in Scorpio, and today the moon is still in Scorpio, you might have been feeling some intensity, some rumination, some maybe even paranoid thoughts in its detriment. And sometimes if we're feeling trapped or just trapped in our own heads, trapped in a relationship, trapped in a dynamic, we self-sabotage and we get a little reckless because we're trying to break free from those chains that are binding us. We all have like a toxic behavior we tend to do. Or think about if you have this impulse of like, gosh, I need to break up with my partner right now, or I need to quit my job immediately, or I need to dye my hair purple now. Think about sitting with the impulse. Don't write it off. Sit with the impulse, explore. Why do I want to do this thing? Where is this coming from? What emotions am I feeling right now? How long have I been wanting to do this thing? So if I did this thing today, how would I feel a week from now? 2 weeks from now? The next day? The next year? Versus how would I feel in the moment? Because when you get that quick dopamine fix or you get that quick release of just breaking free of whatever that restless energy was for you, you will feel clear and light probably immediately after. But how long will you have that for? It doesn't last forever. The high of whatever it is that you're doing doesn't last forever. Are you going to be really annoyed when your blue hair starts to fade? You get the bleach in your hair and then it washes out the next day or something? Are you going to feel relief in the moment when you break up with your partner because you've been really pissed at them anyway and now you've let it all out on the table, but then the next day you're like, what did I do? I can't believe I just ended things with the love of my life because I was annoyed and felt restless. What if you quit your job because you're in a bad mood and you're having a bad day and you feel trapped by it? In a week from now, are you going to be like, I shouldn't have quit my job. I actually liked my job, or I needed the income, or that was a good career move for me. Why wasn't I just more slow? Why did I burn that bridge? Why did I not just move slower when it came to leaving that? So, clock the gut instinct, clock whatever it is that you feel like is restricting you and the desire to want to move out of it. But ask yourself, how can I actually act in a way that's going to be constructive to getting the result that I want? And understanding that you can also move slow. You can eventually dye your hair blue if you want to. You can eventually leave your partner if you want to. You can eventually quit your job if you want to. But you want to wait for the timing to be right. And when the timing feels right and you run that by your heart and you do that timeline check of how will I feel tomorrow, how I feel next week, how I feel next month, it's going to be good. Okay? Not bad, not doomsday, not depresso, not guilty or shameful. That is your Astro Weather Forecast for the week. That's a wrap. I am the Astro Mama. I bring the cosmos down to earth to ground deep feelers, creatives, and mystics as a board-certified psycho-spiritual life coach and a certified professional astrologer. If you want to work with me, the link to book a session is below. I'll also share the link to some local events that I have going on if you're in the San Diego area and you're looking for community, 2 of which are free, 1 of which is a ticketed event. And just know that you are so loved and supported. I hope that this forecast gives you the tools to swim with the cosmic current instead of against it. If you liked it, please like, share, subscribe it, tag a friend below who might need this medicine. I'm on a mission to guide people away from using chat and AI for astrology. And the only way I can do that is if I provide an alternative. I'm trying to provide a free, easy, and accessible alternative to that through my forecast for right now and hopefully through other methods in the future. So if you are aligned with that mission, please like, share, subscribe. It would be so lovely to have your support and to get this wisdom out to as many people as it can be in the way that astrology is supposed to be delivered, which is from a human. Okay, much love.